Okay, the Lakers are all clapping in the war room. They're all clap. There's Rob Pelinka.
That's Rob Lowe.
That is also Rob Lowe. He's shaking hands with a lot of people. I believe they've just re-signed LeBron James.
Someone's got a beanie on. You're in L.A., my friend. It can't be that cold.
What's that guy doing? What's happening in there? They're all shaking hands. They're very excited about what's going to happen. We'll bring it to you live when the announcement is made. But clearly the pick is in for the Los Angeles Lakers at number 55.
Second round excitement. This is
the most
great.
exciting 3:10 in the afternoon on a Thursday that I've had in a while, Dibs.
And the fact that they got Dalton Connect, that I think is a big acquisition for them. I like the player, Mark.
Do you?
He's a guy who can shoot.
I'll give him that.
You didn't watch a lot of the NCAA this year?
I did. I've heard of Dalton Connect.
He's
That's
good.
what I'm saying.
He can shoot it.
Yeah, great.
I like the pick. I like the player.
Do you ever not like the pick?
I mean, there will come a time, yeah. I didn't like the Trey Lance pick 3 years later.
Bob Myers and Stephen A. Smith look very, very serious right now. Okay. So, anyway. All right. Are we going to the podium?
Not quite yet. When we see the podium, we'll go to the podium.
With the 55th pick in the 2024 NBA Draft, the Los Angeles Lakers select Bronny James from the University of Southern California.
Oh, my God. What a joke of a franchise. I can't believe the Los Angeles Lakers have conducted themselves this way over the last 2 months.
I like the pick, Mark.
Good for you.
And I like the player.
Rob Pelinka and Jeannie Buss, just take a vacation. Because clearly neither of you are running the show.
And this just in, according to my sources, LeBron James has opted in to his player option, and he will remain a Los Angeles Lakers.
Wow. I mean, I'm not saying wow. I expected it.
Of course.
But from the experience of J.J. Redick to not J.J. Redick, and now we're going to UConn to get our coach, and we're going to talk about it every day, and we're going to tell you what his salary is going to be, and then he's like, I'll tell you tomorrow if I'm going to take it or not. And then he comes to the podium, I'm not taking it. I'm going to stay in UConn. Now we're going back to the podcast host, but he's given up his podcast, but it's okay because now he'll just swear at press conferences instead. And this is really fun. And now we're letting a 40-year-old with a jersey make selections for us in the NBA draft.
Bronny's got a lot of upside, Mark. He averaged 4.8, 2.2, and 2.1 last year at USC.
Yeah, I mean, my, how the mighty have fallen.
Yeah.
All right. In all that, there is actually Warriors news.
They've traded for Bronny James?
No, but they've traded for someone. Go ahead and fire away, Grandy. I feel like the Warriors made a trade. Let's hit the thingamabob, don't you think?
95.7 The Game breaking news.
Golden State Warriors, who earlier today traded the 52nd pick, have just used cash to reacquire the 52nd pick. So the selection that they made about 15 minutes ago, which we thought was on behalf of the Oklahoma City Thunder, was actually on behalf of themselves. And they drafted big man Quinton Post, who Mark Grandy once joked, it looks like all of his highlights are on the perimeter. Maybe his name should be Quinton Perimeter. But his name is, that's what I gave him. His name is actually Quinton Post. And also of note, the pick officially hard caps the Warriors at the second apron. They are now unable to go over it this season, which was the plan anyway, says Anthony Slater.
Okay, there you go. So now you're hard capped at the second apron, which means you can only shed salary. And if you get below the second apron, then you can aggregate salaries in trades and you can, work and get money back as long as you stay below that second apron once you get to the beginning of the league year on July 1st. So there you go. Wow. Not only did they not make a pick in the second round, but they wound up with two players out of the draft. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, well, so they still, by the way, they're not sending back the player that they acquired in the original trade.
Right.
Essentially what they did was they subbed in cash instead of the pick that brings them Waters from Oklahoma City, and now they get the pick back, and they use it on a big man who Larry Harris said to us just yesterday, we want a big guy who can score. And that is that's the scouting report on Quinton Post.
Yeah, 7-footer from the Netherlands by way of Boston College.
Yep.
So there you go. And we talked about having a big who can step out and shoot it. Hopefully this is a guy who can come out there and do that for Golden State. And I don't know how much time or how many minutes and how many shots he'll get right away, but just to have this sort of a player in their arsenal, they don't have that otherwise.
It's an option. And again, I think one who comes into the draft with a little bit of experience. And we watched what happened with that last year. We watched what happened in the 50s of the draft last year, and it turned into Trayce Jackson-Davis. So I'm with you. This is not anything that's going to matter for game 1, 2, or 3
right.
of the season. Could this become something down the road? Sure, it could. And at least from a scouting report and a body structure perspective, you can understand what the Warriors are doing. It's the kind of player that they need.
Yep.
I don't know if this guy's going to be able to do anything. But it's the kind of player that they need.
Well, I don't want to go out on a limb too soon, but I like the pick, Mark. And from what I've seen so far, I like the player.
Okay, good.
5 years in college.
How long ago did you first hear of him?
It was, what time is it, 3:16? What time did you hit that damn sounder, 3:09? Somewhere in there?
More like 3:12.
Yeah,
Okay, 4 minutes.
Yes, before, okay.
4 minutes. But as I've started to really pour over my notes, he did shoot 43% from 3 last year.
Can shoot.
He averaged 17 a game. It's a shorter 3 in college, Mark, as I checked my notes.
But I saw the highlights. Like, he put the ball up with his right hand and it would go in. Like, he's got a good-looking jumper.
Yep.
Whatever. He's 24. He's not 20.
Exactly.
He's 2 years older than Jonathan Kuminga already.
Exactly.
So he's another one of those types of players that the Warriors got in the draft last year.
Looks like he has a really well-established mustache. Good ability to grow a beard.
Yes. What else do we have on the young man?
Did I mention he's from the Netherlands?
Yes, he played for the national team.
Yeah.
in the Netherlands.
Okay.
And once played for the Mississippi State Bulldogs before going to Boston College.
Exactly.
So these are all wonderful bits of information about Quinton Post, your newest Golden State Warrior.
According to RotoWire, shades of Brook Lopez or Al Horford to his
great.
game.
Well,
Shades.
So there it is. Phenomenal. I hate draft reports like that.
Post will probably need reps in the G League before he turns into a reliable backup big.
Yeah. You could just go ahead and write that for every second rounder. Blank will need reps in the G League prior to becoming a whatever, which, by the way, Brandon Pajemski and Trayce Jackson-Davis had reps in the G League before they then became actual Warriors and then became people we talked about and cared about a few months later. Maybe Quinton Post will be the next.
There you go.
Can we go back to laughing at the Lakers, though? That was hilarious.
I wanted you to ask me last week about what I thought of the J.J. Redick signing as to be their new head coach, and it's the exact same reaction that you gave to the Bronny James pick. It was just pure head back, mouth open laughter.
Well, but J.J. Redick might be a wonderful coach. That's not even my takeaway.
Bronny James might be a wonderful backup guard.
Yeah, he might be. Like, I don't know what these people are going to do. The hilarity is not involved in the personnel. It's involved in the process.
Agreed.
And you guys asked me this morning, prior to the Warriors trading the pick that they then reacquired, what about Bronny James? And Steiny and Goo spent some time on it at the start of their show, prior to the first Warrior trade of the day. Would the Warriors consider Bronny James? And my answer was this: without knowing what Bronny was ever going to be, without knowing LeBron James' plan, even though I never believed for a second he'd play anywhere but the Lakers next year, if the Warriors drafted Bronny James in the second round, I would have lost a lot of respect for the organizational process. And that was my answer. Because if you do something like that, it's sort of the opposite of the way Pat Riley conducts himself. It's almost kind of, here's what I would liken it to in our business. It's like a radio host who starts the show with nothing to say and just throws out the phone number.
Exactly.
And is like, you guys talk, because I got nothing. So here's the phone number. You give me takes, and then I'll react to it. I would say the same thing to every host who does that. You're handing your show over to other people. The Lakers, of all franchises, in the last 2 months, have handed control of their organization over to other people, largely someone who's 40 and is likely less than a year away from not playing basketball anymore.
Yeah, that I disagree with.
Maybe. But even if it's 2 years, that is unthinkable. It is unthinkable that organization would reach a point where they're hiring a head coach whose experience goes as high as 4th grade youth hoops.
He was a volunteer, Mark.
Not the
head coach.
Followed by drafting somebody's son because they told him to. I'm like,
well, what if he told him either you draft my son or I'm opting out?
Then opt out.
You can't have that.
By the way, he is opting out. That's already been reported.
Well, he'll opt out and then re-sign there. So what's the difference? Opting out and leaving is different than him just opting out.
I would argue, what's the difference in keeping him? LeBron James, for every Warrior fan that wants to yell about their age and being done, LeBron James' presence has gotten you what? You were also a play-in team.
In championship?
No. I'm talking about now.
Okay.
Last couple years. You're no different than the Warriors.
Western Conference Finals.
You went on one run,
right?
And that was over. That was a year ago now.
Yep.
Right? And by the way, you arrived against Denver and got complete. It's not like they were close. And now he's 2 years older. You're not a contender, you wouldn't think.
Yeah.
And you've got an opportunity. To me, every asset you have is an opportunity to make your team better. And instead, you kowtow to a 40-year-old star.
Well, a second-round pick is not really an asset. The majority of second-round picks are.
With you.
Well, how many times have the Warriors hit on a second-round pick?
Well, they've got
twice.
They've got multiple on their roster right now.
Right. Draymond Green is on the Mount Rushmore of second-round picks in modern basketball.
But my response would be, it doesn't matter what the average is. You try. That's like telling a 200 hitter when Jorge Soler goes to the plate, try and get a hit. What are the chances? Not good, Bob, but try. Because you might hit the ball over the fence. Like the Warriors conducted themselves today in the second round, where they used their pick to make a trade, and then they traded back to get their pick to pick someone who they think's got a shot to be a basketball player. That's how a professional organization runs itself. You don't let one of your players sit there and look at you and be like, do this or I'm leaving. You're 40.
Maybe they like the player.
Leave.
And maybe they like the pick.
What if LeBron left? Ooh.
What if Bronny James turns out to be an all-star?
Well,
I mean, then what?
Then I'll stand highly corrected.
Exactly. Well, and I'm only doing this as devil's advocate because you have always said you can't judge any draft for 3 years.
And I'm not judging the player. I have no idea what he's going to do.
You're judging the process.
I'm judging the process.
And I get it. And the process does not look good when you hire J.J. Redick, seemingly because he is a podcast buddy of your star. And whether it's Jeannie Buss or the various Rambuses that are kind of running that Laker organization,
I can't believe
it feels like it's a mess. But here they are in at least as good of a spot as the Warriors, if not better.
Well, I don't agree with that. If the Lakers
had a better year last year,
great,
and a better year the year before,
great. If the Lakers, if the Lakers actually assessed Bronny and think he's a prospect, then good on you. But I got all kinds of stuff to sell you if you think that's why they drafted Bronny James.
I don't think that's why they drafted Bronny James.
Then that's my only criticism. It has nothing to do with the player. It has to do with a once proud organization that now is letting somebody, a 40-year-old player, as great as he still is, we can all agree that his time in an NBA uniform is pretty short. No?
He's on the back nine.
Okay.
He's on the back nine.
He's on 18, and I think he's on the green.
I'd put him at 16T right now.
Either way, to let that person control your assets, that's sad to me. That's sad to me for any NBA organization, even though I like it when the Lakers don't do well.
For me, it's not a total nothing burger. It's a nice little thing for them to have from a marketing standpoint, but second-round picks are among the most meaningless commodities in all of professional sports. And you could look at any of the trades that have happened today where teams are trading 4 conditional second-round picks or 4 second-round swaps. The GP2 trade involved 5 second-round picks. The second-round pick in the NBA draft is kind of like the player to be named later in Major League Baseball. It's meaningless for the most part.
I can't disagree with your data, but again, you have to use those assets as a thing. You have to conduct yourself.
And it's probably more valuable in a trade than it is in an actual pick.
Like there's no other NBA team that is conducting their second round the way you're talking, which is like, hey, Bill, should we even show up today? Because who cares? Nobody's doing that. Even if the batting average is bad, you do your homework, you conduct yourself, and you try to get better with your second round pick. You don't hand it over to an aging star and go, could you tell us what to do, please? Because we're terrified that you might leave. It's so sad. Like, what happened?
Business is what it is.
No, it's not. If the Lakers lost, like if they call a bluff, gosh, the day that I saw that the Clippers are the LA team that's willing to call a bluff as opposed to the Lakers, what would really happen if LeBron James left LA? First of all, no, he won't. The only reason he's a Laker is because of geography. That's why he wanted to be there. Because of sun, because of what school Bronny could go to, what program Bronny could be in, and Hollywood. So he used the Lakers as a conduit, and he's still doing it. And the fact that they're like, if he were to leave them, okay, he's going to leave you in a year or two anyway. He's going to retire. You let him control your assets?
It's a second-round pick. To me, it's not really them controlling their assets. And you know what? If J.J. Redick doesn't work out, then they're going to show him the door like they have so many coaches before him. Look at the list of coaches they've had. Darvin Ham, 2 years and gone. Frank Vogel, 3 years. Luke Walton, 3 years. Byron Scott, 2 years. They are churning through coaches based on the whimsy of Jeannie and the Rambuses and LeBron. Well, a lot of that happened before LeBron was there.
Yeah, some of it, sure.
So it's not like this is an organization that's looking to invest and build with a 5-year plan. They're doing it year by year.